सबैजनालाई नमस्कार। म आज पनि सिरिज वाइज पास्ट क्वेसनको भिडियो बनाउने क्रममा उपस्थित भइसकेको छु। यसभन्दा अगाडिको भिडियोमा मैले नर्भस सिस्टम पार्ट 1 अन्तर्गत टप 30 क्वेसनहरू फर्स्ट 30 क्वेसनहरू सल्भ गरिसकेँ र रिमेनिङ क्वेसन आज सल्भ गर्नेछौँ। नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट। बिफोर स्टार्टिङ द क्वेसन्स आई वान्ट टु गिभ सम ट्रिक्स टु रिमेम्बर cranial nerves. There are 12 pair of cranial nerves in amniota, which includes reptiles, birds, and mammals. However, there are only 10 pair of cranial nerves in fishes and amphibians. So there are 12 pair of cranial nerves in amniota. However, there are only 10 pair of cranial nerves in amniota or non-amniota, which includes fishes and amphibians. To remember the names of cranial nerves, we can use a famous mnemonics, which is O O O, to touch and feel very green vegetable. Aha. Means olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear, glossopharyngeal, vagus, spinal accessory, and hypoglossal. Out of these 12, spinal accessory and hypoglossal are present only in amniota, but these are absent in amniota. So if question is asked which of the following cranial nerve is present only in man but absent in frog, then we have to choose either spinal accessory or hypoglossal. So to know whether the cranial nerves are sensory or motor or both, we have a very famous mnemonics, which is Sum se marry Moni, but my brother says bad boys marry Moni. Or also we have used Sum says Moni matters, but my brother says big book matters more. If the question is asked, the first cranial nerve is, we have to choose sensory. Similarly, if the question is asked, the 10th cranial nerve is, we have to choose both, that is mixed. Now, turning to the question, which cranial nerve in man is both sensory and motor? For both type, these are both type. That is 5, 7, 9 and 10 are mixed cranial nerves. We have to choose either 5 or 9, either 5 or 7 or 9 or 10. Out of these, trigeminal is 5th cranial nerve, which is mixed type. Question number 32. Before going to this question, I want to give the division of brain. There are 3 parts of brain. 3 parts in brain: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Also, cerebrum diencephalon. Midbrain has two parts, which is Crura cerebri, and quadrigemina. There are three parts in hindbrain. Which are cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. Cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata, or simply medulla. Out of these, pons is absent in frog but is present in human. So, returning to the question, hindbrain of frog consists of only medulla oblongata and cerebellum, but pons is absent. No pons. Now, question number 33. In which of the following disorder a patient generally commits suicide? Depression is a very serious mental disorder in which mostly patient commits suicide. Now, question 34. Two cerebral hemispheres of mammalian brains are connected via corpus callosum. Is specific to mammalian brain. Which is present only in mammalian brain but absent in brain of any other animals. 35. Palpitation that may be felt while facing an interview, primarily due to the activation of. There are three types of nervous system. One is CNS, another is PNS, and last one is ANS. CNS consists of brain and spinal cord. PNS consists of nerves arising from brain and spinal cord. While two types in ANS, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Out of these, parasympathetic nervous system works in normal condition. However, sympathetic nervous system works in emergency condition. So, returning to the question, palpitation is an emergency case. That's why it is due to sympathetic nervous system. Now, question 36. Muscular coordination is done by cerebellum, also called body posture. That is, body posture or muscular coordination is done by cerebellum. Center of intelligence is cerebrum. Center of intelligence is cerebrum. However, body posture or muscular coordination is maintained by cerebellum. That's why cerebellum is affected by alcohol. During alcohol, a person cannot maintain own body posture, which is due to cerebellum. Affection. Pons, medulla oblongata. All vital centers are located like respiratory center, cardiac center, pons. Amniotic center is located in pons. 37. Which of the following is found in diencephalon? For the parts of diencephalon, we can remember this as a room. Consider this as a room. There are four parts. Floor is called hypothalamus. Roof is epithalamus. epithalamus, and two lateral walls are subthalamus. That's why actually there are three types. They are in three parts, in which one is epithalamus, two is hypothalamus, one is epithalamus, one is hypothalamus, and remaining two are subthalamus. Which of the following is found in diencephalon? So hypothalamus is found in diencephalon. 38. Primary visual cortex is present in, for this, the functional division. The functional division of cerebrum is called Brodmann's area. Brodmann's area. For the functional division, we passed 10. We passed 10. We passed 10. O means occipital. E means eye. Parietal, skin and touch. Temporal, ear, nose. So if the question is asked, occipital lobe is related to, then we have to choose eye. Also, parietal lobe is related to skin, tongue, that is mostly to touch. Temporal lobe is related to ear and nose. Now, primary visual cortex is which is related to eye. That's why most people we should remember OI. Occipital, eye. 39. Hunger and thirst are under direct control of. The function of hypothalamus is sit square as sleep, sex. Endocrine emotions. Awareness, appetite. Thirst, temperature. These all functions are controlled by hypothalamus. For the function of hypothalamus, we can remember this as sit square, that is S for sleep, S for sex, E for endocrine, E for emotion, A for awareness, A for appetite, and T for thirst, T for temperature. So hunger and thirst are under direct control of hypothalamus. 40. Which part is responsible for attention? As I've told that cerebrum is center of intelligence. It is responsible for attention. 41. The parasympathetic nervous system. Para means pora, means tada. So it has receptors far from nerve. That's why it has ganglion near the organ. For this we can remember this and this. This is nerve, that is brainspan part. This is organ. Paras means para. That's why CNS consists of, as I told, CNS is brainspan part. Which of the following do not belong together? Forebrain. The parts of forebrain are cerebrum and diencephalon. Parts of hindbrain. B. Hindbrain, medulla. Hindbrain, cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. Diencephalon has 4 parts, or simply 3 parts: epithalamus, hypothalamus, and subthalamus. midbrain, crura, cerebri, and quadrigemina. So midbrain, cerebellum. This is mismatched. 44. Reasoning power is maximum in human due to cerebral cortex. Reflex action in vertebrates is exhibited by. Actually, reflex action is exhibited by spinal cord. Spinal cord. If it is not given, we have to choose autonomic nervous system. Gland of Swamadam is the reserve of minerals which contains calcium. 47. Sodium potassium pump or Na plus K plus ATPase acts on the principle of facilitated diffusion. In brain there is no for this. Glucose is the source of energy. Protein is also the source of energy. Simply amino acids are the building block of protein. That's why it is also the source of energy. However, insulin is not the source of energy. So in brain there is no insulin. 49. Impulses are transmitted along cell membranes due to change in, we know, Na plus K plus pump, sodium potassium pump, in which potential different across the membranes helps to transmit impulses. So the answer is potential difference across the membrane. 50. Cerebrospinal fluid for CSF called cerebrospinal fluid, which is created by choroid plexus created by choroid plexus. C for CSF, C for created, C for choroid plexus. However, it is absorbed by arachnoid villi. A for absorb, A for arachnoid villi. CSF, C for CSF, C for created, C for choroid plexus, A for absorb, A for arachnoid villi. Now, the total volume of CSF daily production daily production 500 ml, while volume, its volume is only 150 ml. However, remaining 350 ml is absorbed by arachnoid villi in the blood circulation. Cerebrospinal fluid maintains intracranial pressure. Which is 5 to 15 mmHg. If CSF decreases, then there is increase in intracranial pressure, mostly in child, which is called hydrocephalus. CSF effluents the brain. It's also a blood filtrate, acts as shock absorber, but it mostly acts as cushions. So CSF, all of the following are functions. 50. Synapse is a gap between adjacent Synapse is a gap in addition nerve cells. One nerve cell and another nerve cell. There is a gap which is called synapse. This is synapse. This is very many questions. Synapse is a gap between adjacent nerve cells. 52. The nerve that transmits impulse towards CNS is sensory towards CNS and motor away from CNS. For this one, we have to know name. To touch and feel very primitive. Abduction. Abduction is sixth cranial nerve. Some say marry money, but my brother says that this is not sensory. Auditory. Auditory means vestibulocochlear, which is eighth cranial nerve, which is sensory. Yes, this is sensory. So the answer is auditory. 53. Hypothalamus of human brain is meant for homeostatic control. Function can be remembered as sit, square, S for sleep, S for sexual behavior, E for endocrine function, and E for emotions, A for appetite, A for autonomic nervous system, T for thirst, T for temperature. Crura cerebri are nerve bands of midbrain. There are two parts in midbrain. One is crura cerebri or cerebral peduncles, and another is quadrigemina. 55. The lobe of brain where visual stimuli are received and analyzed. We can remember as we past 10. Occipital, eye, parietal, skin and tongue, temporal, ear and nose. So that answer is occipital. In action potential during nerve impulse transmission, the repolarization is due to depolarization. Depolarization is due to Na plus in, while a repolarization is due to K plus. Yes. 57. Injury in occipital lobe causes loss of vision. 58. Neurotransmitter released from postganglionic sympathetic innervated sweat gland is all parasympathetic. All parasympathetic nervous system. In all parasympathetic nervous system, the neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. In sympathetic nervous system, all preganglionic nerve fibers are acetylcholine, that is cholinergic. However, postganglionic nerve fibers are not cholinergic, but they are adrenergic, that is adrenaline, except for sweat gland, which is cholinergic, that is acetylcholine acts as the neurotransmitter in postganglionic sympathetic innervated sweat gland. 59. Data is responsible for control of reflex action. We know reflex action is controlled by spinal cord. That's why CNS is responsible for reflex action. Which cranial nerve supplies to heart? We know heart is supplied by vagus nerve, which is 10th cranial nerve and is longest cranial nerve. Which is not a reflex action? Option A, blinking of eye. This is reflex action. B, watching of eye. This is also a reflex action. Flexion of hand when needle is injected. This is best example of reflex action. However, sweating from skin is not reflex action, so the answer is sweating from skin. Center of balance in brain is cerebellum. Body posture is maintained by cerebellum. That's why it is center of balance. With this, we are at the end of this slide. Thank you.